Hello and welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans come to congregate and fanboys fear to tread.
There we go.
Yes, we're we're
Christine.
starting.
I nearly fucking believed you there now with all Jakey Boo.
But hey, we got the World Superbike.
Mm-hmm.
Well, race one was good. We
Top
haven't seen
racket
race.
is on.
We haven't seen the rest because it's Sunday morning when we're doing
Yeah.
this. So yeah.
Hey, I was telling CB, telling Mac, I said when they had the ruling that BMW and Honda were allowed to change the frame, that's going to be big. And people, oh no, it's not that big of a deal. I said, yes, it is. And see what happens. See how much
No,
better.
no. You're wrong there, no man. Because it was last year they changed the frame, not this year. The only thing
Well,
BMW
I was surprised it did. You're right. But I'm surprised it didn't happen like that. But
but hold your horses. Changing the seat section. That every team is allowed to do that. That's not a homologated part.
Right, but
the frame is
Honda and Yamaha were Honda and BMW were allowed to change the frame.
Honda were allowed to change the headstock of the bike.
Headstock
and Ducati were allowed to change the frame rails.
No, but it was BMW, you mean?
Or sorry, BMW.
Yeah.
And BMW was allowed to change the frame rails, but that was last year. That wasn't this year.
Well,
but again, But look again. It's that scenario. You put an alien on a good bike.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. Like without Top Rack, would they be as competitive?
Nope, they wouldn't.
No.
Look, where's the next BMW in the championship?
They made a jump, but nothing. It wasn't the miraculous jump that you're looking with Top Rack. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can say that that the Ducati is a good bike because you have Buliga was in second, and Bautista closing in on it as well. Do you know what I mean? You're like, okay, so now you have two really good riders performing at the same level on the bike. So remember, as I always say, judge a bike by where its number 2 rider is.
Yep.
And that's just
that's the Moto on the site.
Mm-hmm.
Judge live by second motorcycle.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, because look again, the way to go racing, you do not want to have 2 strong riders. Hello, Ducati. You do not want to have 2 roosters in the hen house. You want to have one cock and one near cock.
Small cock. Medium cock.
Anyway, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, but anyway, it is race week, lads. You know, we've Austria this week. Austria is one of my favorite circuits because it's so fucking dangerous, man. You do not want to crash in Austria.
That's one of your favorite tracks. Not when your ass is on there.
But it's one of my favorites to be a spectator at. You know, it's short, it's high speed. You got to be aggressive, you know, to pass. You know, looking at it last year, Bagnaia won it from Binder and Bezzecchi in third. I don't think that's going to be the top 3 this year by any ways of thing, but you know, it is one of my favorite tracks in the way that for me it's a real rider's track. You know, it is fast, it's flowing. You got to be precise. You cannot make a mistake. Any mistake you make there, you're going to be punished for it. Like so. So I am excited. Don't know really what it's going to be like this year. Especially with the top 4 or 5 riders having a go, but I am looking forward to it, and I'll go through more of it. I suppose the day before practice starts, but it is race week. Looking forward to it.
The infamous bull ring with Marc Marquez. Of course, he's always in the news.
Yeah, he is. Look, you know, at the end of the day, Marc is Marc. You know, if that old famous saying, "No publicity is bad publicity," do you know what I mean? He's always in it for good reasons and bad reasons. I am very happy for Marc, kind of outside the track, that he's kind of learning. You know, like he has the fiancée now and this and the other, and he's kind of learning there's more to life than bikes, which will also be good for him. You know, and it's kind of funny because like when you look at it, where Marc is now, is he's kind of learning to have a life outside of bikes, And you look at young Acosta coming up. I still can't find the TNT video for it, but like it's like he has no fucking other interest in anything in his life than bikes. Do you know what I mean? He wakes up in the morning, he rides his bike. You know, he was asked about going to the gym. Do you like going to the gym? And he's like, no, but I have to be fit to ride my bikes. So he's like, I have to do it. Do you know what I mean? And then he's right, and it's like, but I tell you, the piece that they did on them, you just kind of become a fan of him from watching it, because he's just completely dedicated. It's like an 11-year-old boy is still saying girls are disgusting, right? But except he's whatever, 19 or whatever it is, and he's just like, yeah, no interest in women, no interest in anything else, drinking and whatever. It's just bikes, just like headstrong bikes. So it is really, really interesting. Jack Miller, lads, I'm hearing from a source that he's signed for Pramac.
What?
I think that's good, man. I'd rather him be signed somewhere than be nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta love the guy. I mean, he's like, the paddock, comic relief, and he's good. I mean, it's not like he's a bum or anything like that, or lacking skills, But
so they're
top ride, better guys for top ride.
So we know it's most likely for Pramac Yamaha it's going to be Miguel Oliveira and Jack Miller. Now, I did hear during the week, all right, that Jake Dixon was in line for it. Maybe that young chap Alonso, and I just kind of like to myself, I was like, Jake Dixon was only being mentioned because Jake Dixon won a great race in Silverstone, but he's, in my view, he's just not ready. He mental capacity to be in a pressure cooker like that, he just doesn't have it, right? And we've seen it in his interviews. Very surprised by Hadji. There was an issue one time with Darren Binder or something, and Jake went off on one and he went crazy and all of this in an interview. And I was like, why would Hadji allow him to be interviewed as his manager? Do you know what I mean? Knowing what he's like. So it was an interesting thing. But look, from my understanding, it's already been agreed that it is going to be Jack Miller, and kind of things came together in Silverstone actually for both Miller and Miguel Oliveira. So apparently it is going to be done and dusted and announced fairly soon.
Jake Dixon, if he's not got it down by now, it's a done.
Yes and no. Like, it's
he's history.
Yeah,
kind of. 30?
I don't know what age he is. I don't think he's 30 yet. I don't think he's that far up. He's a good lad. Like, he's been through a tough time, and being honest, like, he's been through as tough as it gets, and he's kind of kept his thing going. But I just don't think. Now, there's also there's a lot of political stuff going on, and kind of one of the reasons as well why I think Jack Miller is there is that Australia is a massive, massive market.
Yeah.
Right. And, so is America, but it's not as big as Australia at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And I think Dorna are kind of pushing to have some Australian representation. Like, for Trackhouse, they don't necessarily need a US rider yet, right? And they don't, right? The team is enough. An American team in there is enough to be kind of selling merchandise regardless of the rider. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like, look, it's just. I think it's probably the right move to have Jack there. I would love to have seen kind of some young blood in there, but say that the shit pile that Yamaha are in, They need experienced riders there. You know, they have an alien, and they would probably have 3 steady Eddie riders. Do you know what I mean? That could put in a performance every now and then. And I think that's probably the best setup to go with. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. But apparently, it is Jack Miller will be on the Pramac next season.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, at least it's like you said, I agree with that. Since I have Pramac still, I have Ducati Pramac stuck in my head there for a second. Being it's Yamaha now, and they're trying to they're digging themselves out of a hole. That might be good for him anyway, because now he's a test rider, more or less. Okay.
What happens to that data? The data that they.
Okay, he puts a good front up. He gets a lot of advertising. He puts the name out, you know, for the team. So it could be. I can see the choice now. Now that you mention it.
They need everything they can get at Pramac Yamaha. Even the factory team is struggling, so they need every inch that they can get. And I was just thinking about that data. Where does that data go that they have from Ducati? Do they have to hand that data back to the factory team, or
they can see the data. They can see the data, but if you ever used an Excel file, do you ever hear of read only? You can only read the data. You don't own or capture the data yourself, right? So anything from Ducati will be Now, saying that, right, and it's something I talked about in videos a lot of the time. Ducati won't worry about any engineer from Pramac that's going over to Yamaha, because the bike, firstly, it's a completely different spec of a bike, right?
Right.
But also, it is so far behind.
Yeah.
If where I would think would be a real problem is that if Pramac were going to Aprilia or KTM, that would be a big problem. Like, that would be a big problem. What you would see inside in Pramac probably from the day of the announcements is 10 or 15 more red shirts inside in that garage, and the Pramac engineers being pushed over out of the way and saying, "We're going to secure our data. We'll work with the riders now." That's it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because you have to also remember those 2 riders inside there are factory contracted to Ducati, not to Pramac.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think what would happen in that kind of view is that Ducati would take over the running of the actual bikes. Pramac would just go back into thing. So yeah, there was I must see if I can find it there. There was a very, very interesting thing, comment about Silverstone, actually, from the group. And I did read it. I do want to acknowledge some of the things, because for us MotoGP fans, you know, who want to who live in the UK or near UK, like, it is $100 return flight for me to go over and back to the British Grand Prix, right? It's not an astronomical amount of money to pay. But there was a chap there that went, and let me see if I can find it. But it was a really, and he actually explains what is wrong, or everything that is actually wrong with the British Grand Prix. And I would really love the people from the British Grand Prix to actually listen to what the fans are actually saying. And
the biggest thing, isn't the biggest thing though, the site, it is so far away they can't see it.
There you have that, right? But you have some other logistical issues. Do you know what I mean? And
so you're saying getting around the track was
getting to the track. Once you're at it, like, for example, if you if you go to a British Grand Prix for Formula One, there's buses running to it. There's, you can get in, you can get out, you can get access, right? There's fucking nothing for MotoGP. So so unless you bring your bike, or you get a fucking taxi from the airport, or you get a taxi, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's no way to actually get there and to actually enjoy the race.
It all has to be local traffic because they have to have their own vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, for me, when I was reading it, I was like, this is probably, and I'd probably actually, if the person is okay with it, I would probably screenshot it and send it to the chairman of Silverstone Race Circuit and say, this is why you only got 117,000 and all other tracks are getting 250, 300,000 a weekend. Like, if you could, I'd put it to you this way, right? There was more fans in us, or in Sachsenring, which is a very small circuit, right, on Friday and Saturday than there was in the whole weekend in the British Grand Prix. You know, and they're two, okay, you have a sprint race, but they're two no real things. If you fucking add on race day in Sachsenring, they pull more than 100,000 people ahead of 100,000 people ahead of what it is. So for me it's a massive thing that the British Grand Prix need to look on, is, you know, as the promoter, your job is to get
how far away is the track from the airport?
It's 65. It's £65 sterling taxi. That's what I know.
Okay.
So that's $100.
Yeah. Two. Yeah, I was wondering because, you know, like Disney has those, and not the big. I mean, I know they have the tall tram, the one that goes up, but that's just for sight. You know what I mean? For a show. Yeah. But the ones they have on the ground, you know, you can pull a hell of a lot of people in those things. You know, going round and round and round and round 24/7. You know, a tram. You know, the little go-karts that are, you know, they hold, 100 people at a time. You know, you could pull thousands and thousands of people with those things.
Oh, you could like their job is, though,
be inexpensive too.
And it's a guy called Gregor's. I can't even pronounce his surname. I was at MotoGP at Silverstone, and I can confirm it was very fair. It was very hard to follow what was going on. Our grandstand, there was no audio. The first laps, there was no internet until the end of the race, probably because everyone was trying to get live timing. So what happens there is that the radio masts for cell phones and whatnot, right? There would be certain amount of them in an area, but if you're all trying to connect to it, it gets overloaded.
Yeah,
happens at football matches all the time. People with very good eyesight sitting in the front row may have seen the positions of people on the scoreboard, provided there was a screen. Audio commentary came back when the race became boring. Moto 2 had a better atmosphere than MotoGP, probably because there was a close fight for the win and a local lad involved. The attendance figures shown for MotoGP were 1/4 of the attendance shown for Formula 1, but it felt like 1/10. The event itself was prepared with different music events, which I could see hardly anyone stayed for those after. The ticket I had for the weekend was £150, which would have been £700 for F1. It felt colder than the weather forecast predicted. Unlike F1, in previous years, there was no direct buses from London. There was no prior notice of it. There were coaches, but you had to buy them with your ticket. So I can imagine most people didn't. MotoGP audience, on average, is a little bit older. If they're going to organize MotoGP in May, which in Ireland and England is one of the coldest in thing, we might have a race with people with winter jackets on. The food was, for a Grand Prix, very good, 10 times better in Spain. where I think it's most money. But it's a really, really good insight into, like, you've spent 150 quid. You're like a fucking second class citizen. You had to buy the bus with the thing. Now, for example, I could rock up to Spain, any event in Spain, right? I could go down to the bus station on the Friday morning at 7 a.m. and I can get a bus out to Catalonia or out to the circuit and buy a weekend pass for like 12 euros.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my transport in and out. No dedicated bus. Do you know what I mean? Just the buses run every 15, 10 minutes or whatever it is. And I think that's the problem for Silverstone, because it's one of the things that would definitely turn me off is that, okay, if I flew in, because I'd fly in, I think, to Birmingham and then get a taxi or whatever over. So it's going to cost me thing. And 150 quid for a ticket is nothing. Do you know what I mean? Again, where I could go to Barcelona, I still have to pay for a flight and accommodation. Okay, I go to Barcelona, I pay 10 quid to get from the airport into the city on a bus, right? I pay 12 quid to get in and out of the race. The only grandstands that are gated really is the main grandstand and the one turn 5, I think. And then the rest is just like public area that you can go around and whatnot. And it's like 90 euros for your ticket. So, look, I think the British Grand Prix and the chaps in Silverstone, why it's a great circuit, they really, really need to look at executing their prime priority of getting bums on seats. And they don't do it well for MotoGP. They do it very well for Formula 1, just not for MotoGP, clearly.
You have to make accommodations, maybe add a little bit more on that ticket price to accommodate more people.
Yeah, like you shouldn't have to buy your bus when you're buying your ticket, right? Because you know what I mean? You should be able just to, like, they should have information of, you can get a bus from here, you can get a bus from here, you can get a bus from here. The buses will run every 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? You get to that point and you go. That's it. And people will say, okay, I need to get from Birmingham Airport to Birmingham City. Do you know what I mean? Okay, that's the meeting point. That's fine. You don't mind that. But if you're going an hour across the UK in a fucking taxi, and then you're waiting in race
America, you know what I mean? It's we don't go in buses unless it's to somebody's rehab center, or if they're taking the bus to their their parole officer or something like that. Other than that, we don't do this.
Don't you?
No,
we do it for events now, or
everything's spread out here, so we don't have everything's by car.
Yeah, I suppose. But then, look, it's just, I suppose it's just the annoyance of it, like
like when we go to an event and we're so used to, I don't give a football, basketball, whatever. You go in and it's like it's a roach motel. You go in and you can't get out. You plan on, okay, we're gonna go in, we're gonna see the game, then we'll bring sandwiches and we'll eat on the way out, because we're gonna be in that car 2-3 hours to get out the door before we get out the stadium.
But it's not.
TV's like, yeah. I think for a
but,
long time getting out of there.
But I can tell you then, right? My experience going to Grand Prix is, right, I've been to Misano, Mugello, Catalonia, Sachsenring. Fuck, where else have I been? Silverstone. Portimao. There's 2 more. Brno. And one was a 500th. I can't remember. It was an old circuit not there. Anyway, right? The best circuit that I ever saw was Catalonia. Right? 2 hours after the race finished, on public transport, I was sitting on the beach having a beer. So 2 hours, and most of that first hour was walking from where I was on the track to the bus point. And it's 45 minutes, so I was waiting 15 minutes for a bus. That's it. Gone. No problem.
We don't Yeah.
You know. So look,
A bus is a place where you hope you don't get puked on, or
I know it's very.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's because you're kind of.
I've literally walked into trolleys. Remember those? I've literally walked into a trolley and threw the guy at the back. Like, ding, ding, ding. There he goes on the street. There I go. Thank you. There you go.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of fucking strange over that side of the water, anyway. So you know,
I was going to school. I was at Temple.
Yeah.
So, you know, why'd you go to Temple? Because it was the cheapest place, and I tried not to get mugged. So.
That's it. Maverick Vinales, I thought the comments were really funny. It actually made me laugh when I saw it. You know, doing that. You know, I probably need to do it. So obviously, there was a few comments about it. Like, but look, for me, when I look at these things, right, like Maverick is leaving to go to KTM, who is a main rival of them, right?
Right.
Like you're not going to give him any fresh development parts. Aleix is different because Aleix is going to a non-rival. Do you know what I mean? No matter what, like Aleix is, in my mind, is kind of Billy Big Balls thinking, I'm going to go to Honda. Honda are going to listen to me, and I'm going to get this project and become the savior of Honda. Ain't gonna fucking happen, right? Honda ain't gonna listen to Jack. They will listen to the first couple of feedbacks from him, and then they'll decide their own way, as they've always done, right? Like you've had the likes of, you know, Marc Marquez, Jorge Lorenzo, Polo Espargaro, Mir, even, you know,
Stoner there too. Man, everybody, Rossi, Stoner,
and they didn't listen to him. Do you know what I mean? And they haven't changed their mentality.
Right.
So. But anyway, regardless of that, like, so I would think that they would give Aleix any upgrades to try. From my own personal opinion on Maverick is that while they may have issues when they put on the medium rear tire, it's up to you as the rider to manage that tire. You know, unless you get a Duff tire or whatnot, right? But I don't think in 4 races in a row he's got 4 Duff tires. Did you know what I mean? Very sorry down there.
Maybe Oliveira. Maybe Oliveira might get 4 Duff tires.
Walking fucking dartboard. Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? He's definitely going to get some.
We said this, or I don't know which one of us said it. Remember we said when Martin got signed for Aprilia, we said, folks, when Ducati doesn't give him upgrade parts, it's not personal. It's not a conspiracy. It's going to be because he's moving. You don't give somebody new parts when they're moving. Okay,
right.
Your main rivals. I don't know if Martin's complained about it yet. I can see it coming. You know, I don't know about you.
I don't think he will. You know something? I genuinely and you know, I genuinely believe Martin is past the whole Ducati didn't pick me thing now. Do you know what I mean?
Good.
Like he is.
Just...
I think he's now in the still in the mode. I'll fucking show him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now, saying that, I genuinely believe, lads, and you can call me batshit fucking crazy, but I genuinely think Inie Bastianini has the same mode about him now. Do you know what I mean? He has now he has that dominating weekend. He's like, maybe I can fucking actually do this. Do you know what I mean? Maybe
one of the guys that needs a target.
Yeah, but
you know
that.
Froze.
That. Do you know what I mean?
Nope.
You there? One more time.
I was like, the belief is now there, right? And that belief is probably the most dangerous fucking thing any rider.
Bastianini.
Yeah, you know, and if he has that belief, that grows confidence, and that confidence that grows, you know, if it continues to grow, let's just call it, then it's a very, very, very dangerous thing.
That's what got him there. Like when he was what was that, 22, and he was battling with
yeah,
he was battling with Pecco on a Grassini bike, you know. So
he came up through the pack. That's what we noticed.
Yeah,
he needs a target. He seems like he needs a target. Like seems like a very simple guy. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you're on bike, go. You're here to go as fast as you can. It's just very basic.
Just get on it and ride. No politics. No, I didn't get this part. I didn't get that part.
Back for X amount of time, then go faster. Just midsection, and then you just it's not going to register. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The lights are on, but nobody's home.
That's what you want.
Yeah, but like he's only like what 47, 48, 49 points behind Martin. There's nothing in it, lads. There's nothing at all. Like it's one crash from Martin and a good weekend from Ine, and fucking shit, it's on. Do you know what I mean? And if you look at them, Ine has had a few good, solid race weekends. In the last few race weekends, he's starting to come on strong. Now we're going to get into the meaty section of the season, and
remember what a race ago, people were saying Bagnaya's got this in the bag, and when he's up 10 points. They got 400 points left. What are you talking about? It's in the bag. Sorry, Mac. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
You're right. But yeah, it's just. He's now, in my view, he's become a very dangerous person. Do you know what I mean? That Pecco and Martin will be looking at each other, and while they're looking and complimenting each other's fucking jocks, your man is going to go past them. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's just dangerous. He's just
in boxing. They call it taking a picture. Your work, taking a picture of your work. Yeah, like look how good we're doing. Oh shit.
Yeah, another.
What happened?
Another phrase in Ireland of that is like throwing bouquets of flowers at each other, and then you forget about the other person coming.
I don't know if that's his strategy, is to maybe hang back and then just strike at the end, but I feel like that's the best way, because it seems like when Pecco or Jorge crashes out, that's like a big hit, like in the points, versus just hanging back and waiting to see what happened and then striking. So.
Well, no, look, he doesn't have the time for that either, right? I think there's like 370 points or so left, right? So he doesn't have time to fuck around. Do you know what I mean? He needs to hit him hard, and I think he's got his bit of a flow and a mojo with the bike now, and he's starting to understand the bike, and we have no doubts how fast he is. So I think it will be very, very interesting. Like this weekend, if he comes up and he does the double again, the two boys then are definitely on fucking watch. Like, you know what I mean? It's definitely.
I can see that a double.
Yeah, I mean, when they started off with the new system, but Christ, if you look, I mean, he had Bagnaia wins 4 races in a row, and he's only up 10 points. So it shows you how much that thing can sway.
Yeah, but like if you look at it, if your man wins 4 races in a row, he's probably leading the championship too, only by 10 points. Do you know what I mean? So it's good for the championship that there should be a few more players in it. But again, everyone thought that it was going to be the Marc Marquez, that it was going to be this, that, and the other.
I'll say I thought it too myself. I thought he was going to do better than this.
Yeah, and one of the things that no one talks about with Marc Marquez is his race engineer, who got him comfortable on that Ducati very, very quickly. And he, I believe, is going. I think he's going to KTM or Yamaha. I can't remember where he's going, but he's leaving Gresini this year. But if we all remember, he was whose race engineer? Can you remember?
Was he Aeneas, wasn't it?
He was Aeneas race engineer, and who else was he?
Before Aeneas?
No, after Aeneas. Just signed a Ducati factory contract.
Whoa. Fabio.
No. Digi Antonio's.
Oh, did you?
Oh, that's right. They snuck one in on me. Yeah.
So this guy had,
DG.
yeah, like remember the strongest part of the season last season. Who was one of the strongest? Was Digi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Mark hit the jackpot, I believe, with that race. Not saying Mark is not any good, right? That's not what I'm saying. Mark went to Grosini and got an engineer who really, really understood the Ducati motorbikes.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
He said it, not me. So send all the hate mail to Mac.
And you can get that back. Right? Because I have facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did it with Enya. He did it with Digi. He'd probably do it with Mark too. Do you know what I mean? Before they lose him. The big question though for Grosini for me is like, it's
who's going to be Mark's? Who's going to be who's this chief engineer for Mark next year?
Whoever Ducati tell him, I suppose.
Okay, I didn't know if they made a decision on that yet.
Yeah, no. But it's Fermain Aldeguer still hasn't been announced. Everything is settled now, right? Everything is settled. Alex Marquez is settled. Morbidelli is settled, even though not publicly announced. Digi is publicly announced. And it's just like, okay, why haven't they announced Fermain Aldeguer? Is it not in Grosini? You know, is it Ducati now kind of going, oh fuck? Do you know what I mean? Did we?
Why do they do that? Are they still shuffling around? Like, why do they just wait?
Ducati might have the strongest engineers, but they were never good at picking riders. I mean, I know that they didn't have the money to pick riders like the Japanese, but I on top of that, I think they were never that good at picking riders.
Yeah, I feel like they fumbled. They fumbled this year. They lost two good people.
I don't think that. I think
one.
Their hand was forced on that one, though. That's just different. I mean, that was.
It wasn't forced, right?
I was going to say, yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't forced, right? Someone wanted.
Not by. I'm saying, but they had a ton of people. Other, you know.
I think.
Going, hey, don't lose them. He had all the other sponsors going, don't lose them.
I think. I know. I think Ducati made a massive assumption in a lot of areas.
They did.
Right. And it wasn't a fumble, right? They just made a complete fucking ass of themselves because, and this is no offense to Ducati, right? They presumed and assumed that Pramac would automatically reset. Okay. Pramac assumed and presumed that Martin was going to the factory team.
Yes.
Right? Whether they were happy or sad to take Marquez doesn't really make a difference, you know. But I think that's where it was, and what they were going to do was that Fermain Aldeguer was going to go to Pramac, and they would have another fast rider in Pramac, and then the whole situation with Mark happened, and I don't think. Like, I genuinely think, right, that I think leading up to Mugello, I think they made the plan clear that either they were going to move Mark to the factory team, or they were going to move Mark to, or they started to reconsider. Or I think the plan was that, Martin would go to the thing and Mark would go to that Mark would go to Pramac. And then I think there was a delay. And the delay was caused by, what's his name? Carlo. No, Carlo thing, right? And then I think there was the statement from Mark. I'm still not sure whether that was a statement from Mark or whether that was just Ducati putting that out there from Mark to say, to put the cat amongst the pigeons. And, you know, as we heard in Mugello that time, you know, there was positive conversations between Martin and Ducati factory team, and then that all turned on its head, and Martin ended up giving them the ultimatum. And then I genuinely believe that he stuck with it. They were asking for more time because of what was happening with Pramac. They didn't know because all of a sudden they had a lot of riders and no seats to house all those riders. So they found themselves in a KTM predicament. And I genuinely believe that Ennia's decision was already made by Mugello or just shortly after it. And the reason I say that is because everyone was talking about Marc Marquez and Jorge Martin to the factory. So Enia already knew he was done. Do you know what I mean? That he was cooked. So so he rushed to get a seat. I think he rushed a little bit too quickly, in my opinion. I think he should have explored the Aprilia seat, if I'm very honest. But anyway, that is neither here nor there.
Well, I think Marquez, the first time, really thinks that he needs that factory seat. As far as skills are concerned, I think now he's going, I need that skill. I need that help with that bike to make the skills, to get enough skills to win. You get my drift. He always said, he might have talked that game, but in the back of his head, he always thought, I'm so good I can ride around it and win everything. Right? He's like, I need to have that factory bike to win.
He's not looking so good to me. He's not looking that good.
He's just a hair of a step, and that could be psychological. Him saying, "I need that factory bike."
But that's the thing, right? Like, okay, we haven't seen it this year yet. That the GP23 has beaten the 24, right? Properly and whatnot. Alex Marquez says he hopes that Gigi Dall'Igna is on holidays when they designed the GP25 because he's never seen a gap so big. Now, that's not correct, right? The gap is big, right? But we were only talking about Superbikes this morning, right? And we won't mention any riders, but we were like, some people come in and they're at this level, and that at the time that level is fucking amazing. It's brilliant. It's this, it's that, and the other. But then new, younger people come in, and they just move that level on just that slight bit, right? Just that slight bit. It's like you're not talking much. You're talking a 1/10 of a second, 2/10 of a second. Like if we look at the difference between, and I was actually amazed with this that someone sent me it during the week. But Carl Lewis, an American runner, in 1988 won the Olympics at 9.92 seconds for the 100 meters. Right. The fella who finished last in this year's Olympics in the 100-meter sprint ran 9.91. Now that's not a long, like, okay, it's right, but like what's boiled down to is like 9.95 or 9.5 something, right? But it's just evolution. Do you know what I mean? Technique,
because people haven't changed.
They're getting faster. That's crazy.
It's in their head. No, they haven't. It's in their head. They
was the saying.
I can make a better human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like they have better drugs that they get out of their system.
I was gonna say, they got all kinds of different.
But there's that too. But I just found it just kind of funny that the fella that finished last would have won gold in that Olympics. And it's not so long ago. Well, okay, it is 20 years ago or whatever it is. But still saying that it's not so long ago. Do you know what I mean? And
they're both men, right? They're not having men in a women's contest or something like that.
Supposedly, for now.
Well, it's 30 years, yeah. But yeah, look, it's, you know what I mean. Look, it's not a dude. I was laughing at that with the women, with the swimming.
Yeah,
and down by their JJ, they've written "not a dude." It's like, yeah, anyway, for me, it's just something. And this happens in MotoGP too. It's like it's not that Mark has gone any slower. He's probably going as fast as he's ever gone. But now, Silverstone, he classed as one of the worst weekends of his life. All right, and I still reckon he's on the 23B now. And they're all on the 23B. Have a look at the front wheel of the bike. You'll see a lot of difference between between the two models, right? And they're not going to put an aero device on there and keep the aero of the original 22 because it's not designed to work together. Anyway, but we'll have a look at it yourselves and make your own minds up. But I think just the fear of Marc Marquez is gone. Do you know what I mean? The riders nowadays are not afraid of Marc. Rossi was terrified of him.
They never have a fear. There's never a fear.
Rossi was fucking terrified of him. The shit would roll down the inside of Rossi's fucking leg the minute Marquez would come behind him.
They don't have fear like we have fear. It's like, are you afraid of Mike Tyson if you go into a boxing ring?
I'm fucking afraid of Mike Tyson outside the boxing ring.
Yeah, maybe at first, but then you throw a couple punches and you're like, hold on, this guy, he's off. He's not. He don't have that. You know,
I'm afraid one iota because you know why you've already been sparred 2,000 times. I don't.
Yeah,
care.
but you're
never afraid of the fight. You're never physically afraid of the fighter in front of you. You've already been hit 2,000-3,000 times beforehand. You're never afraid. It's part and parcels getting hit. Those guys, part and parcels, you're banging together in a racetrack. You know.
Yeah. No. Yes and no. Right. Marc is, as we know, is not the normal MotoGP rider that would have a few tips with you. And let's be very fair with that. Marc will come and take you fucking clean out. He's done it multiple fucking times. Do you know what I mean? So it's not fear of Marquez thing. You just know Marc does not know where the limit is. I.e., look what happened with Buliga. Look what happened all through the fucking years with Marc, right? And that's what I mean. It's not actually terrified of him, but what happens? And let's be fair with it. You know, a rider's coming up behind you. You know he's either going to take you out and you decide, not fear, but you just know this fucker. If he can't make a clean pass, he's going to come past, and he's either going to fuck my race. So is it better to leave him go and try and hang with him, or is it what? And that is the mentality. And it's the same as Rossi. Rossi had people beaten before the race even started, because they knew when Rossi was going to come up, when Marquez would come up, they're going to throw it up the inside. And they don't. Sometimes they pull it off. Sometimes they got it completely fucking wrong. Do you know what I mean? And
with Rossi, the thing Rossi's unique about is he was the best passer of all time.
But he was dirty too, though.
I thought passing is a separate skill.
The block pass.
Phenomenal. I mean, unbelievably good.
He was dirty. He was dirty. Like he did. Fucking,
oh man,
he did some dirty moves.
Not like Marquez. Marquez banged.
No, yeah. He did that.
Well, look, listen. Rossi banged up the fucking inside of said AJ Bernal into the last turn in Valencia.
Last turn, expect that, right? I mean,
you do. But
off the third, you're on lap 3. Bam! Where did that come from? You know, where the hell?
But again, that's evolution. Like but that's where it is. Like Rossi brought it to one level. Marquez brought it to the next level. Do you know what I mean? And okay, but now people aren't so afraid of Marc banging into him. Whereas when Marc came into the championship, he was banging off everyone. Do you know what I mean? And people were like, "Fuck." Do you know what I mean? And it was scary. So for me, when I look at it, I don't think Marc has slowed down. But I think the riders around him, the attitude towards him, was not like it was between 2013 and 2020. Where Marquez nearly had everyone beaten before that race started.
Right.
Nowadays, you know, Pecco's not afraid to go toe to toe with them. Jorge Martin is not afraid to go toe to toe. Jack Miller
faster than the guys that was the Marquez has never run against a group of riders this fast either. Too, if you look at that, I think it's more. They're a faster group of guys than Marquez has ever went up against.
I think that too, like Joe, and that's where we were talking about earlier on. Is like the next generation coming in. The evolution is going faster, you know.
Faster, yes.
You know what I mean? And it's naturally faster because all of a sudden these guys, and I know Marc was on a bike at an early age, but these guys are fucking bred from an early age. Do you know what I mean?
They had a little tram. It's a little handle.
They're watching MotoGP, like, you know, in the cot, like, do you know what I mean? In the fucking Moses basket.
Toddler GP.
Toddler. You know? And like balance bike, as soon as they can stand upright, they're on a fucking balance bike and they're fucking going. And by the age of 1.5, they have the fucking elbow down on a balance bike. You know what I mean? And
I just kid diapers gone.
Yeah. But you look at the likes, and it's very, very clear to see if I can get you that thing for Acosta. But you can see with Acosta, that's the way. Like his dad, I think his dad was a fucking fisherman, right? But they put everything they had because they saw the talent that he had.
It. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's just for me when I look at these things. Like Acosta, in my view, is probably going to move the needle again even further, right? And guess what's going to happen? Someone comes in from Moto 2 who used to battle with Acosta, who has no fear of Acosta, is going to move that needle even further. And that's it. And at all times, it doesn't mean that you're slowing down, because Mark is not going to slow down, right? Mark is going to try and do it. And one of the greatest things about Valentino Rossi was that his ability to be able to change his riding style to suit
what it was,
right? It's not his 9 titles. That's not his greatest achievement. It's being able to change your natural riding style to suit what era you're in. Because like he was
right.
He was in 500s. He went into MotoGP, and if you look at how MotoGP, how they enter a corner in the original series of MotoGP, even up to 2015, 2016. The positioning on the bike, how he changed his style, riding, completely different.
Everything has changed.
It was like doing. Everybody think you guys go, doing's the greatest thing since life ever was. I said, hold on a second. Until everybody crashed out or retired, Dew hadn't had 6th place nailed down. Okay, you didn't look at doing to win. Okay, then Lawson went, and then Wayne Gardner went, and Schwantz went, and then he started winning the titles. He was a late bloomer. He wasn't a late bloomer with all them bones busted together. I mean, he was better when he started. It was just as there wasn't anybody there racing against, so that made him look better.
Still, he has those championships, and you can't take them away from him. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. The number of titles you had does not necessarily correlate to how fast you were.
No, it just means you're in the right place at the right time.
Right, exactly.
Is that not the same as like when you pull a hot chick?
Right place, right time.
Right place, right time. Do you know what I mean?
The right drink.
Right drink too, yeah. Don't even say it, Jake. Don't even fucking say it. I know exactly what you were going to say. Don't.
Just look at you guys with the microphones. You got the little one. It's like, you ever
little one, big one.
And look at you, Jesus Christ Almighty! You got a sperm whale in front of your fucking face. Are you compensating for something there, CB?
maybe not.
Yeah. But no, it's okay. But it's good. But look, I can't wait to see Marquez actually though battling for the lead. Like I genuinely do think he'll win one this season.
You don't see it, Jake? I was saying, Jake, you don't see it. You don't see him in the lead.
Oh yeah.
I see him winning. I see him winning one anyway, definitely.
Yeah.
You mean a race or a championship?
A race. Okay. He'll definitely win the race this season for sure.
Oh yeah. I think
I would be very surprised if he didn't. I'm really thinking Phillip Island is kind of where I'm thinking that he will do well.
I think it's like Lorenzo. Remember Lorenzo? He got out front. He was doing great. He looked like he was almost guaranteed he was going to win. He'd jump out in front of everybody in the blast. If Marquez gets that where he jumps out in front of everybody, okay, that situation, I think if he gets clear air in front of him, he's gone. I think that he's going to go balls for the walls. He's going to be win.
I think though, if you look at Marquez's riding style, it's not that style anymore, and I genuinely think like you can see it with Mark. Mark is now his strongest in the last. Well, sorry, he wouldn't be as strong as Enia Bastianini, but he is one of the strongest people in the last 10 laps of the race. He's understood the tire management. Now, either he's understood it or Frankie has set the bike up to understand it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that it's not so. And Mark is riding to a delta, and then he can go. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of actually like, I always remember Rossi saying it. He's like, we used to go for lap 1 and lap 2, and then hold till 10 to go, and then at 10 to go, you've enough fuel and you've enough tire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you push on. Do you know what I mean? And that's when the commentator used to be saying that the famous saying of the doctor will see you now. Do you know what I mean? And that's where, if you look at Rossi's races, he did a lot of damage between lap 10 and 6 to go to people. Do you know what I mean? So
Bagnaia said he wants to he looks to be ahead past the 10th lap. Because once you're past the 10th lap, like 80% of the time they win.
Yeah.
Downhill.
Yeah. And that's it. Like Pecco, I think is, for any Formula One people there, Pecco I refer to always as Alan Prost. Really thinks about his race, understands what he wants to do, and you can see him doing his calculations on it. I think Mark, when I look at Mark's race type, I think he's like red light, green light. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like he's in the moment, and if the light is red, he's not going to go. If the light is green, he'll go until that light comes back on red, or whatnot. You know what I mean? And what you often see with Pecco, and I think this is why people see it with Pecco. Pecco can't battle, or he can do this, or he can do that. I often wonder with Pecco, does he get so focused in the calculations or thinking about the race and lines and this and that and the other when he's racing? Does that often distract him and cause mistakes? Do you know what I mean? Where Mark is just thinking about this corner, and I think about the next corner when I get to the next corner, sort of section. And Martin again is a hybrid of that. He does quite genuinely think about things, but he has raw red light, green light sort of thing. And Bastianini, I think if I was to go to the pub and I'd want to have someone next to me when a bar fight started, it's kind of Bastianini is that kind of person that you want to have, because he'll just fucking adapt to it. Do you know what I mean? And he will be smooth when he needs to be smooth, and he'll just fucking fight you when he needs to fight you. Do you know what I mean? And he won't think about it. Do you know what I mean? So, like, how I would class it is that if Pecco was beside me and someone threw a punch, Pecco would say, actually, no, I need to throw a punch back, right? Or I need to get stuck. Where Enya is already probably got stuck in your man for you, or started punching away anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, he's more reactive. But anyway, look, I think they're all...
He reminds me of Enea reminds me of Shaggy and Scooby Doo. Like Ruh-roh, I'm gonna race.
Yeah. But no, look, like I think we're going to be spoiled for the season, especially with the four of those riders. We're just going to be we're going to be, it's going to be interesting. I definitely think Phillip Island is going to be a hunting ground for Marc Marquez. Now, saying that, everyone thought it was going to be Sachsenring and whatnot, and it wasn't. But I just think I just think for Phillip Island, that's a circuit where the rider really makes the difference. Same as like with Portimao, do you know what I mean? The rider really can override the bike and bring it through it. Also,
always seems to be in the middle of a storm. You know what I mean? Phillip Island always seems to be in the middle of a storm. Like when they put out the blueprints, there was like wind blowing about. You know, we're gonna put a racetrack right there in the middle. Where the lightning strikes? Yeah, that's where we're gonna put it right there.
Yeah, but that's adds to the excitement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who wants boring dry races? You know.
I was gonna say, that makes it more of a rider's track. Those track conditions that you.
Yeah, but like you have corners like Stoners, you have the hay shed, and like they're fucking men's corners, lads. I don't care what you fucking say. They're fucking men's corners. Like you roll off through those. Do you know what I mean? You might as well call yourself fucking Sheila. Do you know what I mean? Because you're just a bitch. Right? So like you can't like, And like we always saw with the likes of Stoner and Marquez through those corners, they ain't rolling off. Like, do you know what I mean? And they can make 2 or 3 tenths of a second in just those 2 corners. Like, so, it'll be interesting. Anyway, before we go, who's your fastest man on Friday?
I'm gonna go with Naya.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm going Naya.
I'm gonna go Bagnaia. That sounds bad, but Bagnaia on Friday. Yeah, I think we'll go for an oddball. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Jack Miller.
You really
I was gonna ask you too. Is this more of a KTM track or is it more?
So KTM have tested here in the last 3 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
And I believe
this is their home track, right? This is their.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of pressure on those KTM and Gas Raiders this weekend. I would think Jack Miller, Joe. If it is true that the Yamaha contract, the contract is signed with, I think that will
Brad
give him. No, I just think that'll just give Jack because look, we all know Jack loves to throw on the soft tire and have a crack. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's where it's going to be. So for me, it's going to be Jack Miller. But anyway, I think on that bombshell, we will wrap it up.
Race.
Who's going to win? Yeah, who's going to win on Sunday?
The first person across the line.
Do the sprint. I'm going to say I'll go with Marquez for the sprint and Martin on the win.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you going for, CV?
I had to go Martin on the sprint, and then I'm gonna go Naya on Sunday.
I'm gonna go Pecco.
Oh, he always goes with the trend. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Pecco. Pecco for the sprint, and I'm gonna go Enya for the race.
Pecco for the sprint. If he can get out front, it's in the bag. If he can get out front.
Yeah. Anyway, on that bombshell, it's time for pints. Huh? I know,
yeah. It's 8:30 in the morning here. That'd be a bit rough.
8:30, yeah.
By the way, the race starts. The Superbike race starts in a couple hours. Check.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's evening races, isn't it?
You can watch.
You know who has that. You know who's gonna win that one.
You know it's funny though. Remember you said
Air Top Rack.
In sessions, they gave the new rules for they gave it for Honda and BMW, right? I gotta laugh because they gave it to Honda and said, okay, we don't want to look like we're giving Honda everything. Let's give something to BMW, right? Because they're down low too. It'll make it look copacetic, you know? We don't want to look biased. And who pulls out the shit? BMW. It backfired on them. BMW got the thing at work, and Honda's still, Christ, they're still in the back, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't get what's going on with Honda. They're like,
they can't win anything. They can't win
anything. It don't make any sense. Like, what is going on over there? I don't know who's over that HRC department.
CD. I was telling everyone before you started. You know who's kicking ass in motocross? Apparently, the best motocross on the earth is that new Ducati.
Ducati
out of the box. Out of
One
the box.
Cylinder. Yeah.
Out of the fucking box. Okay.
Hey.
What did you say now? I mean,
Ducati engineering. I want to say engineering, but they're all over the place doing that double-sided swing arm. They're just engineering like crazy. That's engineering everything.
Yep.
So
that's what wins races. That's what gives you the best bikes. That's why they win all that's why the Europeans win all the comparisons. And again, folks, if you're gonna buy bikes, buy them now because the EPA is coming. They're there. Let's put it that way.
EPA are coming.
The EV era is on the way. So
yes. If they're not electric, they're getting there. That the parallel twin that has 70 horsepower and it's your sport bike, and that Suzuki that has 4-cylinder 98 horsepower or 80, I think that's 90 horsepower inline 4 sport bike or sport tour. I was like, you're paying a lot of money for.
Yeah.
I don't know whether clean air, clean farts.
Clean air.
Yeah. Go nowhere.
Carbon emissions.
Yeah.
Carbon emissions. Anyway, on that bombshell, we'll wrap it up there, guys.
All right.
We catch everyone again next week.